From giant squid to giant tuna, today we will explore how fishermen around the world harvest the world's most consumed seafood on a massive scale. In 2023, a fisherman in the Kenai River, Alaska, landed a Chinook salmon weighing 65 pounds. This is a rare catch of recreational fishermen. Commercial fishermen use two main methods to fish salmon, one of which is called purse seining. Fishermen use massive circular nets that trap entire schools in open waters off Alaska's southeastern coast. Can you estimate how much pink salmon this team caught? Over 1.3 million pounds. Besides purse seining, in Alaska's Bristol Bay, gill nets are used strategically at river mouths, targeting only mature salmon as they head inland. In 2022, Alaska's salmon fisheries yielded 770 million pounds of salmon, contributing $5.7 billion to the state's economy. Salmon begin their life in freshwater rivers before migrating to the ocean and eventually returning to their birthplace to reproduce. This journey covers up to 900 miles for salmon like sockeye and coho. Each species has unique migration windows, making timing crucial for fishermen. For example, in Washington's Puget Sound, sockeye run peak from mid-July, while Chinook season generally runs later, around August. Japanese fishermen have landed some of the world's most extraordinary tuna catches, including several massive bluefin ones that weigh over 612 pounds. They are either song fresh or frozen at approximately $76 to $152 a pound. At Tokyo's Toyosu market, a single bluefin tuna was auctioned for $3.1 million, setting the record for the highest price ever paid for a fish. Every year, starting from June to September, these giant fish migrate near Japan, following a warm Pacific current at a speed of around 44 miles per hour. This 1,000-mile migration kicks off the tuna fishing season from August to January. To locate the school of fish, Japanese tuna fishermen use a sonar fish finder that scans the waters around 200 feet from the boat. When the tuna finder responds, fishermen throw the fishing line attached with live bait to target individual fish. This traditional and sustainable fishing method is generally called pole and line, and one of its variations is the single hook hand line technique. Once the fish eat and pull the bait, it makes a big noise. This alerts the fishermen to come and reel it in. Bluefin tuna is a very strong and aggressive fish to deal with, so anything can happen now. It's 492 feet to go. But this unlucky fisherman in Aomori, Japan's top tuna fishing prefecture, is struggling with his tangled line. The tuna keeps tugging and doesn't let him finish fixing it. Some fishermen use an electric shocker to conquer these aggressive giants. When it's close, the fishermen then use large hooks to hook the fish's mouth and bleed the gills immediately to preserve the fish's flavour. The average size for a fully mature bluefin tuna is around 135 pounds, roughly the weight of an adult human, so it's not easy to bring it on board if you're all alone. Next, some fishermen will spike to destroy the brain. Then they will run a small wire back and forth across the fish's spine to flush it like this to quickly reduce lactic acid, ultimately keeping it fresh for much longer. The whole bleeding, gutting, and delivering process is extremely important because slight damage to the flesh will greatly reduce the price. Some fishermen freeze tuna for the same reason. For Japanese coastal provinces, this freezing and processing line is expensive, but worth investing in, because tuna contributes significantly to Japan's $14.4 billion fishing industry. In 2023, the bluefin tuna catch quota was set at 10 million pounds for Japanese coastal waters. For larger scale operations that fish many other types of tuna, purse seining is the go-to method. In this technique, boats use a vast net, sometimes over 6,000 feet long, and encircle entire schools. Some fishermen even use dye and speed boats to confuse the fish. Once the tuna is inside, the net cinches like a drawstring, creating a closed circle. This precise technique is often used in the deep sea waters off the coast of Honshu and Hokkaido. 83% of the total tuna caught worldwide is consumed in this country in various world-famous dishes like sushi and sashimi. This increasing demand has rebuilt towns like Kesanuma, a key hub for tuna processing and export, which suffered greatly in the 2011 tsunami. But in recent years, increased typhoon activity like Typhoon Hanshin in 2020, with waves reaching heights of over 30 feet, and Typhoon Shanshan in August 2024 has made Japanese tuna fishing one of the most challenging marine occupations in the world. In the cold waters off Maine, a state in the New England region of the US, lobster fishermen have caught lobsters weighing as much as 44 pounds, the world's largest lobster on record. Normally, those weighing over 20 can bring in over $500 at the market. Commercial fishermen often use baited traps placed along the ocean floor, setting them up in lines called trawl lines. Here in Maine, each fisherman is only allowed a maximum of 800 traps. Meanwhile, Massachusetts and New Hampshire have stricter limits to preserve local populations. Those with eggs are breeding females, so fishermen give them a V-shaped notch on the tail to let others know its gender, then release them back into the ocean to sustain the future lobster population. On average, out of 1,000 eggs, only one typically survives to adulthood. During its lifetime, which can reach over 50 years, lobsters reach full maturity by shedding up to 25 times in their first 7 years. In most areas of the US, the lobster's carapace has measured between 3.3 and 5.3 inches to be legal to catch. The estimated lobster population off New England's coast reaches around 250 million pounds, one of the most stable populations in the world. Of that, Maine alone produces around 123 million pounds of lobster each year, and alongside Massachusetts, these two states account for over 85% of America's lobster production. The Maine lobster industry supports more than 10,000 jobs because its lobsters are high-value exports, with more than 83 million pounds shipped to Europe and Asia each year. However, this was not always the case. In the 1800s, lobsters were so abundant and cheap that they were often fed to prisoners in New England. Giant squid is a rare and almost mythical catch, hidden in the deep, cold waters of the Pacific. But a more common catch of giant squid is the giant Humboldt squid in US waters, particularly off California and Mexico's Baja Peninsula. They can reach up to 118 pounds and often measure over 5.3 feet long, making them a challenging and valuable catch. Whole giant squid can fetch prices upward of $20,000 due to their rarity and high demand for exotic seafood. Besides giant squid, smaller squid are also a major economic resource for squid fishermen across Japan, South Korea, and the US. These fisheries mainly use jigging techniques to catch tons of squid each year. In Japan, flying squid is especially abundant from July through September. Unlike other places, Japanese fishermen often catch them at night under high-powered lights to draw more squid to the surface. Freshness is crucial, so on many vessels, squid are boxed with ice within minutes of capture to retain their unique texture and flavour. Japan alone imports around 110,000 tons of squid annually to meet local demand, while the US consumes roughly 170 million pounds each year. This makes squid a culinary staple, from sushi bars in Tokyo to seafood joints in San Francisco.